Two women stood before the king, their voices cutting the air of the throne room. Both claimed the same living child. Both declared the other a liar. The baby, wrapped in rough linen, cried on the arms of a guard. King Solomon leaned forward on his throne, his young face still as stone, his eyes moving between the two women. This was the moment his wisdom would be tested. This was the moment the world would see what God had given him. Not long before, Solomon had journeyed to Gibeon, the great high place where the bronze altar of the tabernacle still stood under the open sky. He was young, barely more than a boy wearing his father David's crown, and the weight of a nation pressed against his shoulders. He offered 1,000 burnt offerings on that altar. The smoke rose into the blue Canaanite sky as priests moved in silence, and the flames consumed the sacrifices. Solomon knelt before the Lord with the humility of a servant who knew he was not ready for what he had been given. That night, in the quiet darkness of Gibeon, the Lord appeared to Solomon in a dream. A voice spoke from within the light, warm as a father's, vast as the heavens. Ask for whatever you want me to give you. No limits. No conditions. The God of Israel looked upon the young king and opened his hand. Solomon could have asked for anything. The long life his father David never quite reached. The wealth to build palaces that would make Egypt envious. The power to crush every enemy that circled Israel's borders. Solomon stood in the dream and did not reach for any of these things. He spoke of his father David, the man after God's own heart, and how the Lord had shown great kindness to him. He spoke of how he now sat on David's throne, a mere child who did not know how to carry out his duties. The nation around him was a people too numerous to count, and he was their shepherd, without a shepherd's understanding. Then Solomon asked for one thing. He asked for a discerning heart to govern God's people. He asked to distinguish between right and wrong. He did not ask for riches. He did not ask for honor. He did not ask for the death of his enemies. He asked for wisdom. He asked to see clearly what others could not see at all. The Lord was pleased. This young king had asked not for himself, but for the ability to serve. Not for accumulation, but for insight. Not for power over others, but for justice. God answered him in the dream. Because Solomon had asked for wisdom, and not for long life or wealth or the death of his enemies, God would do what he asked. He would give Solomon a wise and discerning heart, so that there would never have been anyone like him, nor would there ever be. And then, God added something Solomon had not requested. He would also give him what he did not ask for, both riches and honor, so that, in his lifetime, no king would be his equal. And if Solomon walked in God's ways and kept his commands, as David had done, God would grant him a long life as well. Solomon awoke. The dream was over, and the sun was rising over Gibeon. He stood before the altar once more and offered sacrifices of thanksgiving. Then he returned to Jerusalem and stood before the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord, his heart now carrying a gift that no treasury could hold. He did not have to wait long for the test to come. A few days later, the doors of the throne room opened, and two women were brought before him. Both were known as women of the streets. Both had given birth to sons within days of each other. They lived in the same house, and no one else was there with them. The first woman spoke. She told the court that the other woman's son had died in the night because she had accidentally lain on him. In the darkness, The grieving mother had switched the dead child for the living one. When morning came, the first woman looked at the baby beside her and knew it was not her son. The second woman stepped forward, her face twisted with anger. She called the first woman a liar. "No," she said. "The living child was hers, and the dead one belonged to the accuser." Their voices rose and clashed, two mothers with the same claim and no witnesses to prove either side. The court fell silent. There was no way to know the truth. No witnesses, no evidence. Nothing but a living child and two women who both swore they were his mother. Solomon listened. He looked at both women. He looked at the baby. He looked at the faces of his officials who had already decided this case was impossible to solve. And then he spoke. "Bring me a sword." The command cut through the silence like steel through fabric. A guard stepped forward and placed a sword in the king's hand. The blade caught the torchlight. Every eye in the room was fixed on the gleaming bronze. Solomon looked at the two women and gave his verdict. The living baby would be cut in two. Half would be given to one woman, half to the other. The court held its breath. The second woman did not hesitate. Her face hardened against the first woman, and she said exactly what Solomon expected her to say. "Neither I nor you shall have him. Cut him in two." But the first woman, the one who had first brought the case, did something different. Her heart broke open inside her. Compassion flooded through her body, stronger than her desire to win, stronger than her anger, stronger than her fear. She cried out to the king with a voice that trembled and tore. "Please, my lord, give her the living baby. Do not kill him." Her words hung in the air, raw and desperate. She would rather lose her son forever than watch him die. She would rather be branded a liar than see a sword cut through the child she had carried and nursed and loved. Solomon lowered the sword. His voice was quiet now, but it